once again, don't be fooled by the fourth quarter. Dallas got smoked, right?
It feels good that we nailed that game, right? Ravens in a mauling.
Yeah, so CeeDee Lamb and Dak are arguing on one sideline, and Micah Parsons is yelling at the defense, both sides in chaos. The Cowboys have become one big, authentic Kardashian event. There's drama, and there's glitz, and there's glamour, and there's money, and most of it's just a big illusion, and they both have the most gullible of people that worship them. The Cowboys and the Kardashians are great at taking your money, and Jerry Jones has mastered that follow the bouncing ball. But increasingly, of the last 5 really good teams they have played, Buffalo, Green Bay, and Detroit last year, Saints, Ravens this year, 4 or 5 of those are at home, and they've been bullied in all of those games at some point. 4 or 5, just bullied. Dallas, here's the problem. Their roster's not talented enough, and Jerry Jones calls himself the GM. He's 81. It's not a good enough roster. They're also a team that's soft. They're the worst run defense in the league. Derrick Henry and Lamar had their way yesterday. They're also a team that has no chin. If you hit them early, they fold like a cheap deck chair. Also, Dak, CeeDee, and Micah eventually are all going to have top-of-the-market contracts, so you better start nailing those 4th, 5th, and 6th round picks. Baltimore didn't do anything creative. They just ran the ball like the Saints did, over and over and over, often not around, but right at Dallas. So they're getting really expensive. The roster isn't very good. And Dallas has trailed by 20 or more in 3 of their last 4 games. But hey, Dak leads the league in passing yards, which is just so perfectly fitting because Jerry Jones can mention that and justify paying him top of the league. Congratulations. But if you go back to this is about culture and soul. You know, everybody bangs on Daniel Jones, and I will say I had the Giants winning yesterday, and the offensive line, and now they've got a #1 receiver. They've got a little bit of a life in New York. Not a great team. Cowboys play the Giants Thursday, but New York's got a little bit of protection, a little bit of a life, a little bit of a hope. But as you all bang on Daniel Jones, I went and looked up this morning since 2020, Dak and the Cowboys have only had 6 fourth-quarter comebacks. That's the same as Daniel Jones, meaning you got more talent, but you don't have any more heart. There's no soul. What are you? And unlike the Kardashians, actually some of the Kardashian products are actually pretty good. Skims, I'm told, is excellent. And whereas the Kardashian fans that worship them actually like their products and like them, Dallas fans were recently surveyed in the offseason by The Athletic, thousands of fans, and a majority said, we have no chance to win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years. What am I supposed to like about this team? You can run on them. They don't have much of a culture. It's situationally. They're not brilliantly coached. Dak throws for a lot of yards, but those fourth-quarter yards yesterday, that's stat padding. They weren't real. I checked it out during the game. At halftime, the Ravens were averaging over 8 yards a play. So at the end of the third quarter, I went to my phone. After the third quarter, the Ravens were averaging 9 yards a play. That's like an outmatched college team. After the game, Matt Mosley, by the way, asked, why couldn't you? They asked about Derrick Henry, who, by the way, against Dallas was good. And Jerry said, we couldn't afford him. And Matt Mosley said, why? Well, I don't know. You can't buy a mansion when you live in a different kind of house. And to that, I would say, your running backs are not a mansion. You got one elite wide receiver, an okay tight end. Where's all the money going? Where are all the great players? All right, let's have a really serious, hard conversation about what's happening with the Chicago Bears. So I thought Bo Nix, although not great early in the season, I'm watching Sean Payton, the coach, and Bo Nix, and I can see what they're trying to do. I can see the plan. And not every business is a rocket ship. Some businesses take a while. Some teams take a while. But can I identify like a plan? We need to have a hard conversation. I don't think this coaching staff is going to work with Caleb Williams. They have no run game at all. Like none. I can't see the plan. It's bad backyard football. The offensive line has regressed. I mean, they faced the team yesterday in Indianapolis that doesn't defend the run, and they still couldn't run. Fewest yards per play in the NFL. And this is not a team without talent. They had a young and improving O-line last year. Not anymore. They had a semblance of a run game, I thought, last year. Not anymore. They had Keenan Allen, Roma Dunze. They got DJ Moore. They got players. They're last in everything that matters or next to last. For our TV audience, sorry, radio audience, look at the screen. I mean, DeAndre Swift has had 37 carries. One has been for a first down. I mean, once again, I see a defensive coach and a defensive culture not being able to figure out how to fix a quarterback. And Caleb Williams came into this league. We talked about it. He could be erratic. He was an incredible playmaker, but he was going to need somebody like Andy Reid with Mahomes already to get him back into the fairway. Or what Kevin O'Connell is doing with Sam Darnold, take away the reckless. And that's the bigger problem, perhaps, for Chicago. Minnesota is gifted offensively and young. Green Bay's got a great coach, gifted offensively and young. Detroit's not as young. Many of their players are now moving into their prime. But Detroit, Minnesota, and Green Bay are excellent offensive teams. Not all great defensively, excellent offensively. And I would say two of them have great coaches. I think Kevin O'Connell and Matt LaFleur pass the test, flying colors. I think Dan Campbell is a great culture builder. I don't know if I trust him situationally, but he's a good coach. Okay, so forget for a second the Caleb Williams stuff. You got the one defensive coach in that division. You can't win games in this division going forward scoring 20 points a game, 23. You got to get into the 28s. This is now the best offensive division in football. Take the Bears out of it. The other three teams could put an offensive Pro Bowl team together. Minnesota, Detroit, and Green Bay, and their best players are mostly young and getting better. There are no old guys in this league. The tackles, the O-line for Detroit, the young receivers, tight ends for Green Bay, Minnesota, Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson, Sam Darnold's playing out of his mind like MVP stuff isn't a snarky tweet. He may be. So Chicago's got major issues here. Their touchdown at the end is garbage. They scored 9 real points. They can't run. There's no plan. What am I watching? They got to get him an offensive guru. And the downside, if you fire a coach mid-season and bring in an interim coach, be very, very careful about that. Because if the interim wins like 4 games in a row, often in interims, the substitute teacher, everybody's on their best behavior and great energy and sucking up to the teacher and bringing produce every morning. Here, Mrs. Jones, here's your 13th apple in 9 days. And then the interim coach isn't really a head coach. It was all about energy and him trying to impress the new person in the room, and you're stuck with an interim coach for 4 years. So you may have to just stick with Eberflus. But this isn't working. They bring in a new OC. The O-line's, I thought it was promising. It's awful. The run game's got DeAndre Swift. It's terrible. I mean, the Colts team, by the way, the Colts team had a quarterback that completed 50% of his throws, no touchdowns, 2 picks, can't hit a swing pass to save his life. They didn't have DeForest Buckner, and they won. And they controlled large chunks of the game. Like, this isn't working. And I'm not unrealistic. I watched Denver, and I'm like, oh, I see the plan. Jaden Daniels, oh, I see kind of what they're doing here. I'm giving guys patience. But I don't even know what I'm looking at. Oh, by the way, one of the best quarterbacks and best coaches on the planet, Sean McVay, Matt Stafford, next up. And before you think, ooh, that's bad scheduling. No, you just got the team you should have beaten. You just got Anthony Richardson and the team that can't defend the run. Like, this was the game to get it right. This was the team. The Rams now are getting healthy. If you got the Rams in 3 weeks, you get dusted. You may have a shot this weekend because the O-line's still a bit of a mess and the wide receiving group is down to backups. But McVay and Stafford now, good luck, because while the getting's good, that was your game. I mean, the NFL gave you a favor. They're like, hey, let's give them Tennessee early, and let's give them let's give them the Colts here. That Houston's kind of tough. You don't McVay. Here's Carolina. They're giving you games to win, and Carolina now looks like they're competent. Trouble. Like I'm trying to be patient, but I don't see it. And you can blame the quarterback, but they're not firing him. That's the future. You got to make this thing work. You keep taking big swings on quarterbacks. They're not getting rid of him. But this is what I always worry about. I said before the season, J-Mac is my witness. I said, Jaden's got a defensive coach, and Caleb's got a defensive coach, and Drake May's got a defensive coach, and the kid in Denver has an offensive coach, and you are watching Bo Nix. They're not perfect, but I took them in my Blazing Five. If you watch Denver's offense, you see what they're trying to do. Like, I can identify, they want to get Bo Nix out of the pocket. They like to run. He's their leading rusher. Like, you can see what they're trying to do. It's intentional what they're trying to do. It's flawed. It's not great, but I can see it as a fan. Oh, that's what they're trying to do. I don't know what the heck Chicago's offense is. It's like bad intramurals with one really talented guy running around, running for his life. The run game, the O-line, it's all gotten worse.